Hey, Coach. Obviously, you talked a little bit before the game about just trying to see how things would play out with a new circumstance situation. What are your just general impressions of how things played out? I know your team didn't maybe fare as well as you would like, but how do you feel about the whole situation?
Yeah, it was, mainly it was good to just get back out there on the court and play against other people. We're going to pick the game apart tonight back at the hotel, but just – some of the things on the top of the list. It was, for us, we had too many turnovers. We fouled too many times. So those are probably the things that kind of stand out the most to me. But we got a night to pick it apart and look at it and get better tomorrow.
Okay, James Ham.
Hey, Luke.
Hey, James.
You were worried about it being sloppy. I assume that's kind of what you've been seeing a little bit in practice. But what was it that made you go to DaQuan for so much time and sort of break down what you thought of his game tonight?
Yeah, DaQuan, he's earned that time, James. He's had a very productive camp. He's really done a nice job of taking advantage of the opportunity given due to the fact unfortunately we've had some injuries and we've had some people out with the coronavirus. So he's had his opportunity in practice and he's really had a nice couple weeks so far. And he came out in tonight's game and helped us and had another solid all-around performance.
How hard is it to piece this rotation together with so many bodies missing? It seems like that you don't even really know who you're going to have. But tonight it was on display. Yeah,
it's a challenge. But there's also plenty of opportunity for us to kind of keep drilling home what we're trying to get. What we're trying to get accomplished. And I thought we did some things really nice tonight, and there was other opportunities that I think the film, when we watch film with the guys tomorrow, will be really clear as far as where we could have been better on some things. But overall, I mean, the biggest thing tonight was, guys haven't played in 4 months. It was good just to let them kind of get out. I think that's part of why you saw so many fouls on both teams and some of that sloppiness, James, we talked about. Guys they haven't played in a while and they were excited to be out there on the court.
Dave McMiniman.
Hey, Luke, I wanted to know if you could just walk me through. We saw you on camera giving like an elbow bump to Spo before the game started. You have the broadcast booth covered in plexiglass, no fans. There's the Miami Heat signage with the Miami Heat cheers from the fans on the video boards. Just the overall experience, what stood out to you?
The thing that stood out the most is for us in there, how quiet it is, how much you hear everything. And one of the things I told my guys in the first time out was, we always preach communication and how important communication is. And it's even in this 8-game tournament, it's going to even be that much more important because teams it felt like the team that was communicating louder kind of was building up their own momentum in a way, just because it was the only sound in the building. So those are the little things I think a lot of us will start to pick up on as these games keep happening. And as far as me and Spo before, we were just trying to figure out the proper way to say hello. Is it a handshake? Is it a fist bump? Is it an elbow bump? So we were trying to talk out before we had an awkward exchange.
Okay, we'll go to Sean Cunningham.
Hey, Luke, how's it going? I just got a kick out of that. That was funny. Sorry. Just for you guys.
Tell the sarcasm when you're wearing the mask, but I'm glad you got it, Sean.
I did, sir. I did. When you think about for you guys have had a little over a week of training camp, but overall, did it have the feel of being the first game in 4 months for you guys?
Yeah, it did for me. I had some nerves coming over tonight. I was excited. I was a little bit anxious as the game was starting. and I'm sure it was a different experience for each player. But I mean, it was fun. It was fun to get back out there and watch guys compete and play this game that we love. For me, in my experience in the first game back, it was all of those things. So I'm glad that we're back at it.
Yeah, and kind of along the lines of what Dave was talking about in terms of how it felt in there. When it comes to the communication, because everything is so amplified and you can hear guys better, do you almost have to use that as a strategy to be quiet? It sounds like a minute ago you were saying how the louder team, the more communicative team was able to kind of make their own momentum, but do you almost have to kind of be quiet in talking to your players from a strategic standpoint?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fine line. I think offensively and defensively is the difference. Defensively, we want to talk, we want to be loud with all of that. Offensively, I think you look at vet point guards around the league, guys like Chris Paul, and I think with some of those habits they've built where they kind of just, when they know what play they're running, they walk up to each teammate and kind of whisper in their ear. I think little things like that are going to be really valuable here because, any bit of noise you can definitely hear. So offensively, you're going to want to be more on the quiet side. Defensively, you're going to want to be loud and calling out coverages and calling out the other team's play if you can hear it.
Just a couple more. Jason Jones.
Hey, Luke.
Right?
Hey, just in terms of Harry, how much do you think he's benefiting right now from knowing that he's going to, right as of now, until you get Rashawn back, he's really your only, and Alex, he's your only center. So is he a little more maybe relaxed and you see the game maybe moving a little slower for him than it did earlier in the year?
No, I think the biggest thing for Harry is he's had consistent he's had this consistent time to put that work in every day. To start the season, we had, Harry was kind of trying to get his body right at the start of the normal season here. So the fact he came in and he's been healthy, he's been working extremely hard in practice and building that rhythm, I think is kind of allowing him to relax and play at the level that he's been. And I know that's just one game we watched, but he's been good in camp. He's been really good in camp. And I think I don't think with Harry's personality, the fact that he's the only center is what relaxes him. I think Harry's normally he's normally in a relaxed place, I would imagine, as far as mentally.
And just how did you just feel about what he was able to give you today? I know it's a scrimmage, it's a different situation, but did you overall like what you saw from him?
Yeah, he had some nice passes. He fouled a couple times where, we've been working on him a lot with kind of just being big and being, he's got such good instincts on the game. Just be big and be vertical and let the offensive guy try to finish. So a couple times he fouled. And, we'll go back and look at the tape, but, just off, the top, I feel like he played a pretty good game tonight.
Last, Jason Anderson.
Luke, you'll be happy to know we couldn't really hear you at home on TV, so don't worry about I don't think the language concerns or maybe those were overblown early on. DaQuan really did look good. What has he been doing to impress you so much, and how does that project in terms of a role when you kind of finalize a rotation down there?
Well, he's put himself in a nice spot for now. What we like about him is he's a very tough he's a tough young man, and I mean that from both physically and mentally, and on defense and on offense. So he does a nice job of not forcing anything. He looks to be aggressive, but he plays within what we're trying to get done. And then defensively, we feel very confident in his ability to guard multiple positions, and he's kind of been doing that during this camp so far. And I thought he did it again tonight.
Would that are you talking 2-3, 3-4? Is it possible he can fill in for HB if you don't get him back down there?
Yeah, that's a realistic possibility if Harrison cannot join us. We've been playing him kind of 3-4 so far in camp, just with where we're at with the bodies. But he's done a nice job of picking up both those positions.
All right, Coach, you're good to go. Thank you.
Appreciate it.